Good morning, everyone. So, in the last lecture, we discussed what are sequences of sets. We also defined what is meant by a monotone sequence of set. In monotone, we again had two subclasses, non-increasing, which is basically kind of like decreasing, or non-decreasing, which is basically like increasing sequence of sets. We also saw example of sets which are not monotone. I hope you have tried the small exercise given after the lecture also. It was related to monotone sequences and non-monotone sequences. Now today we will go one step further and we have to define limit for sequence of sets. For the sequence of real numbers, you must have already studied a lot about its limits. In fact, we know that every sequence need not have a limit. So there are some conditions under which a sequence may have a limit, and to define that condition we need to first define things such as limit supremum or limit infimum. We will be doing a similar thing for sequences of sets. Okay, so let me first try to recall what happens in real sequences. So suppose an is a real sequence that I have. So if an is a real sequence, that means for every n is some real number. Okay. We define lim sup for this sequence an as supremum over k greater than or equal to n of ak and then infimum over n greater than or equal to 1. Okay, we define lim sup an as infimum over n greater than or equal to 1, supremum over k greater than or equal to n ak, and lim inf is defined as supremum over n greater than or equal to 1, infimum over k greater than or equal to n ak. So basically the infimum and supremum interchange their role over here. So my lim sup is defined as this and lim inf is defined as this. Okay. Now with these two there are a couple of other notations that are used. So I am calling this as limit supremum. Okay, but it is also known as limit superior, and one more notation is lim su. So bar above the overline basically. Similarly, this is known as either limit inferior infimum or limit inferior or lim inf. Okay, these are the different notations that are used. So what do basically they do? Let us try to see. Let us try to first discuss about lim sup an. So my lim sup an is, first I have to take supremum over k greater than or equal to ak and then infimum over all n. Okay, so let us fix n equal to 1 and see what happens. So if I fix n equal to 1, I have to worry about supremum over k greater than or equal to 1 ak. Okay, I have to worry about supremum over k greater than or equal to 1 ak. So let me first write down that. So supremum over k greater than or equal to 1 ak would basically be supremum over k greater than or equal to 1 ak means you have to take everything starting from that k. So a1, a2, a3 and so on, and you don't stop, it goes on. Okay, then when I have n equal to 2, I have to compute supremum over ak k greater than or equal to 2. So that would be supremum over a2, a3 and so on. Okay. Now what do we observe about these two sets? This set is basically the bigger one. The first set is a superset of the second set, right? So when I take supremum over a bigger set and a smaller set, what happens? What is the relationship between supremum over two different sets? So if I have a big set and a small set, okay, so this big set is suppose capital A, small set is suppose capital B. So what is the relationship between supremum of them? Okay, first let us consider supremum of big set. So when I consider supremum of big set, there are two possibilities. The supremum can be somewhere here, means outside B, or the supremum can be somewhere here, means inside B. Now, what happens about supremum of B? See, every element in B is an element of A, right? As a result, when I say I am taking supremum over B and when I am taking supremum over A, we expect to know something about them, something about the relationship between them. So when I say I am taking supremum over B, I know first it has to be somewhere in between B. It has to be somewhere within B. It can't go outside B. Okay. Or somewhere on the margin of B, boundary of B. Okay. Because if you have, sets of the type say 0 to 1, supremum is going to be 1. So it's on the boundary of B. So the supremum can be either inside B or on the boundary of B. Now, if supremum of A itself is inside B, then we know that this element, the element that we were, so then we know that this element itself is supremum over all the entire A. So if it's supremum over entire A, then of course it is supremum over this part also. So it is supremum over B also. So in that case, supremum of A and B would be equal. But if supremum of A is outside, it means that for B we will need to find another largest element. Now that element is going to be smaller than or equal to this element. Why? Because this element is already larger than everything over here. Okay. So what I know is supremum over A is ideally greater than or equal to supremum of B. Because if the supremum of A lies inside A or on the boundary of A, then it becomes supremum of B also. However, if it is completely outside B, not even on the boundary, then for the elements in B, you will need to have some other supremum, but that supremum cannot be larger than the supremum of A, because in that case, it would have been the supremum of A. Okay, so what the conclusion is that supremum of a superset would always be larger than supremum of a subset. Okay, so here we are saying that this set is superset. So this supremum is going to be bigger and this supremum is going to be smaller. Same thing will happen if I go for n equal to 3. For n equal to 3, the supremum will be further smaller. So basically, if I now define sequence of supremums, so let me give some notation. So let supremum over n greater than or equal to 1 I think we are using the notation k, right? Yeah, k. So let me stick to that notation. Supremum over k greater than or equal to 1 ak. Let me call this as say S1, the first supremum. Then supremum over k greater than or equal to 2. Let me call this as second supremum, and so on. So what I know is S1 is larger than or equal to S2 is larger than or equal to S3, and so on. Okay, so what we know is the sequence of supremums goes on decreasing. So if the sequence of supremum goes on decreasing, we also know that for monotone real sequences, for a monotone decreasing sequence, the limit is the infimum. Okay, so what we know is limit of these Sn's, now I can call them say Sn's over n, would be infimum of Sn. Okay, and that is exactly what we have defined as lim sup. Okay, see, lim sup is defined as infimum over all such supremums. Okay, and just now we saw that infimum is nothing but their limit. That's why the name limit of different supremums, where each supremum is of starting over different index. Okay, I want you to think similarly for this limit. Okay, so write down the value of this for at least 2-3 Ks. Check whether these form a monotone increasing sequence. If it forms monotone increasing sequence, then the limit would be supremum. So we can stick to the definition that okay, lim inf is basically limit over different infimums, that is supremum over infimums. Okay, so this is for real numbers, but what we have to define is lim sup and lim inf for sequences of sets. Okay, so we are going to make only a small change. But before that, let me say one more thing about interpretation. So what do lim sup and lim inf actually represent? So what does limit represent? We know that limit represent what happens to the individual terms an in the long run. That's what limit represents, right? So what happens to an in the long run means for large n, what can I say about an roughly? Now I want to talk about lim sup. So what we are doing is for large n, generally how large n can be, that is decided by lim sup, because what we are doing is we are taking supremums. Okay, we are taking supremum and among those supremums we are finding infimum. So what we are trying to compute via lim sup is, if I consider large n, for that large n at least how large that an would be. Okay, at least how large, because we are taking infimum, at least how large that an would be. Similarly, here the situation is reverse. I am checking if I take infimums, at most how small an can be. So there is a point below which n cannot generally go for large n. Okay, and hence because of these two definitions, we further define that if lim sup an is equal to lim inf an, then we say that limit an exists and it is equal to these two limits. Okay, so basically how large an can be, if it's equal to how small an can be, then basically it's going to be one number, so it becomes the limit. Okay, now we have to extend this same thing for the sequences of sets. Okay, so while doing it for sequences of sets, basically the supremum would be represented by union and infimum would be taken care of by intersection. Why? Because supremum was kind of measuring the largest possible number, so union would be kind of measuring the largest possible set that you can create using given sets. Similarly, infimum was kind of like smallest possible number, so intersection would be representing the smallest possible set that you get by using those sets. Okay, so let me define first formally lim sup of a sequence of sets. So let me define lim sup for a sequence of sets, let's say an. Okay, so lim sup of capital An, generally sets we will denote by capital letters, real numbers we will denote by small letters. So lim sup over capital An would be intersection over n greater than or equal to 1, union over k greater than or equal to n, ak. Okay, this is my definition of lim sup, and similarly equivalently we have to define lim inf. Lim inf of an would be union over n greater than or equal to 1, intersection over k greater than or equal to n, ak. Okay, now let us consider some sequence of sets and we will try to compute lim sup and lim inf for that. But one thing we can try to do before that, let us try to see whatever we discussed about sequences of real numbers, does it hold here? Means if I am talking in terms of lim inf, can I say that this is kind of increasing, this is kind of an increasing sequence and hence we are taking union? Can we say something like that? Okay, let us try. So let me first compute union AK. So union AK, k greater than or equal to 1, because I have to first compute for 1. So let me call this set as C1. Okay, so C1 is equal to this. Now this is I'm sorry, not union, intersection. So this would be A1 intersection A2 intersection A3 and so on. Okay, so basically intersection over all sets. Okay, now C2 would be defined as intersection over k greater than or equal to 2 ak. So C2 would be A2 intersection A3 and so on. Okay, so what I know is in this and this, what is the difference? Only this A1 is different. So basically from these two lines what I am getting is C1 is same as A1 intersection C2. Am I right? C1 is same as A1 intersection C2. And we know that if we are talking about intersection of two sets, the final intersection is subset of each of the individual sets. Okay. So what I know is C1 is subset of C2. Okay. Similarly, I can proceed and prove that C2 would be subset of C3 and C3 would be further subset of C4 and so on. Okay. So what we can prove is the sequence of set Cn would basically be an increasing, or to be more precise, non-decreasing sequence. Okay. So if it's a non-decreasing sequence, so if the sets are going on increasing, then the limit is probably the biggest set. That is the union of all of them. That is exactly what liminf is trying to do. Okay. Now homework is discuss or do a similar thing for lim_sup. Okay. In real numbers, in real sequences, I discussed for lim_sup and homework was to do the similar thing for liminf. Here I have discussed for liminf and homework is to do a similar thing for lim_sup. Okay. And we define that the limit of a sequence of sets exists if and only if lim_sup of an is equal to liminf of an, and we say that the common value is same as limit of an. Okay. So we define limit of a sequence of sets as the common value of lim_sup and liminf. If lim_sup and liminf are different, then we will say that limit of a sequence of sets does not exist. Okay. Limit of a sequence of sets does not exist. So let us consider one sequence of sets. So let me take an example. So let us define an as open interval 0 to 1 by n. Okay. Let an be defined as open interval 0 to 1 by n. Now we have to compute lim_sup and liminf for this sequence of sets. Okay. So let me first compute lim_sup n. We know by definition lim_sup n is limit over supremums, and limit is nothing but infimum because the supremums are decreasing. So infimum over n greater than or equal to 1, supremum over k greater than or equal to n a k. Sorry, here we are talking about sequences of sets, so I will have a k. Okay. Let me recall what I said earlier. I have to compute lim_sup. So lim_sup would be limit of supremums, and supremums we showed are decreasing. So limit of supremums would nothing but be infimum of supremums. Okay. This is how you remember. So infimum of supremums. So let me first compute this part for different n's. So let me call this as B n, because it depends on n. When n is equal to 1, I will get b1. When n is equal to 2, I will get b2, and so on. So b1 is, okay, 1 second. We don't have to call it infimum and supremum. Okay. So let me define lim sup as intersection union, because we are in sets. Okay. Intersection union. So supremum would be replaced by union and infimum would be replaced by intersection. So now my b1 would be a1 union a2 up to union over all. So basically b1 would be union over n greater than or equal to 1, 0 to 1 by n. Okay, this is my definition of b1. b1 is union over n, 0 to 1 by n. So my first set is 0 to 1. Second set is 0 to half. Third set is 0 to 1 by 3. Fourth set is 0 to 1 by 4. So they are decreasing. So union of over them is going to be the largest set, that is the first set. Okay. So this would be same as A1. Okay. Similarly, if I try to compute B2, it would be A2 union A3 and so on. So it would be union over n greater than or equal to 2, 0 to 1 by n. So I will start from 0 to half. This is my first set. This is my second set. This is my third set, and so on. So their union is the largest set among them, that is A2. So we can proceed and conclude actually that in general Bn would be An. Okay, Bn would be An. So if Bn is An, then by definition of lim sup of An, my lim sup of An would be intersection over n greater than or equal to 1 Bn, which would nothing but be intersection over n greater than or equal to 1 An. Okay. Now what is the common part in all the Ans? So we have proved yesterday itself that Ans actually don't have anything in common, because you go on decreasing and finally nothing is left. We did discuss this in earlier lecture using Archimedean property. Okay. So this becomes an empty set. Okay. I'm sure some of you might have been disappointed that we did all these calculations to prove that this is empty. But that's what important. Okay, getting the limit, not the value of the limit. Now our next job is to compute lim inf an, because if lim sup n is equal to lim inf an, then we can conclude that the limit of that sequence exists and that limit is equal to the common value. So lim inf an, for computing lim inf an, I have to first take intersection over ak's k greater than or equal to n, and then union over n greater than or equal to 1. Okay. So let us start by intersection. For that, let me call this part as say Cn. Okay. So by that logic, my lim inf an would be union over n greater than or equal to 1 Cn. Okay. So let me compute C1. C1 by definition is intersection over K greater than or equal to 1 AK. Okay, so it is A1 intersection A2 intersection A3 and so on. Okay, now let us go back to the diagram. So let me draw. So 0 here, 1 here. So this is my A1. A2 is 0 to half. A3 is 0 to 1 by 3. A4 is 0 to 1 by 4. So if I take intersection over all of them, we actually know that there is nothing common. So that intersection is going to be an empty set. Okay. Because we go on decreasing things. Now let me try to compute what C2 is. C2 would be A2 intersection A3 and so on. So C2 would be this set intersected with this set, intersected with this set and so on. But again unfortunately there is nothing common at the end. So C2 would also be empty. In fact, you can actually prove that every Cn is an empty set, and hence when you take union over all Cn's, you will still get an empty set. Okay, so what we have proved that lim_sup n and lim_inf n both are equal to empty sets. Hence we would say the limit exists and that limit is nothing but an empty set. Okay, let us solve one more example. Okay, so this is example 2 now. Let me define another sequence of sets Dn. Dn is defined as closed 0 to 1 by n. Okay, Dn is defined as closed 0 to 1 by n. Now we have to compute lim_sup Dn and lim_inf Dn. So lim_sup Dn by definition would be infimum over n greater than or equal to 1, supremum over k greater than or equal to n dk. But we again know that in sets you don't have infimum and supremum, you have to replace them by intersection and union. Okay, infimum is intersection, supremum is union. So first we were calling this part as Bn. So let us stick to that notation and compute. So B1 is basically union over dk, k greater than or equal to 1. So it is d1 union d2 and so on. So if I go to the picture again, I have d1 as 0 to 1 closed, so 0 and 1 both included, d2 as 0 to half closed, d3 as 0 to 1 by 3 closed, d4 as 0 to 1 by 4 closed and so on. So when I take union over them, it's the largest set, that this is d1. Okay. Similarly b2 would be d2 union d3 and so on. So d2 is this set, d3 is this set, d4 is this set. So the largest set is going to be d3. sorry, D2. So this is D2. Similarly, we can prove that in general Bn is Dn here in this example, and hence my lim sup would basically be intersection over all the Dn's. Okay, so lim sup of Dn's would actually be intersection over all the Dn's, that is the common part, and we can see they are shrinking, so the common part is just only 0. Okay, you can obviously see that 0 is in every interval because 0 is the lower end point and we are having closed intervals. And if you consider any point other than 0, then like the earlier lecture, by Archimedean property, you can always find some n for which that point is not in the interval 0 to 1 by n. Okay. So here lim sup turns out to be singleton 0. Remember, you have to write in the set notation. If you just write lim sup equal to 0, it is completely wrong. Okay, because you are talking about sequences, so it cannot be a number. Okay. Now what about liminf? For liminf we have defined Cn as intersection over n greater than or equal to 1 dn. So C1 would be d1 intersection d2 and so on. So basically the region common to all of them. So we just saw that the region common to all of them is nothing but singleton 0. So C1 becomes singleton 0. Then C2 is D2 intersection D3 and so on. So the region common to D2, D3 and so on, again it is just singleton 0. Okay. So what I have is each Cn is a singleton 0 and therefore when I take, okay. So therefore when I take finally intersection over all, okay, so lim sup we have already proved as singleton 0. So now when I want to compute lim inf of dn, I know that lim inf of dn is going to be limit of infimums, that is union over all Cn's, but since each Cn is singleton 0, union over all of them is also going to be singleton 0. Hence we have proved that lim sup dn and lim inf dn are equal and both of them are singleton zeros. Okay, hence the limit of the sequence dn is singleton 0. Okay, now you have some homework. Your exercise on the earlier day had some sequences of sets. Okay, so take those sequences of sets. I think there were 3 different sequences of sets. So from that, see which sets we have already done, and if not, take the sets, compute their lim sup, compute their limits, and see if the limit exists. Okay, let me stop here. Thank you.